Hey guys, it's Nick. Thanks for tuning into Long Island Wargaming for a Mordheim history video from Long Island Wargaming, and this is essentially a history of our games and events and progression of our city and our campaigns. So I will be sharing that with you. So essentially, I'm going to be putting out a trailer for our next campaign. So for people that are interested in the fluff, there's some people that will not give a crap and want to just watch the games. Well, if you're interested behind the characters and the story, I will be explaining that in this video. Also, in the background, I'll just have some photos switching through a slideshow just so you can see different videos and pictures of our Mordheim cities throughout the years. And I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right on into it. So as you can see through these photos as they flash, you can see the progress of the city that I've been working on. It's very primitive at first, just old pieces of boxes and buildings made of cookie containers and shit like that. So as we get more into the videos, especially this campaign coming up with the Vermin Queen, you will see some nice buildings, and I hope you guys enjoy that. So over the past, we've been playing for Mordheim for about 7-8 years now at this point. It's an awesome game. We really love it. We have played multiple campaigns, but there are 2 or 3 big ones that stick out. And we've done just campaigns while we're always all playing, and we've also done some campaigns where I've GM'd them, I've game mastered them, where I'm not a player and I control more of the environment and the GMCs essentially. And the first campaign we all played, this is a big one, for about 5 years ago, and I played Clan Eshin Skaven, so that was my thing, the Skaven, and I had this caster. And he had the spell Black Fury, which is probably the best spell for Skaven, if not one of the best spells in Mordheim, at least the core book. And the spell, I don't remember 100% off my head. I think it's an 8 to cast on 2d6, and it gives you +1 strength, +2 attacks, and the caster is allowed to move into contact with anybody within 12 inches, which is ridiculous. And I ended up equipping my caster to be more of a combat character than a support character. I gave him Weeping Blades and heavy armor and a bunch of other things that really made him an effective combat character opposed to a support character, and he was better than my leader, to be honest. And he was a caster, so he had movement 5, but I was able to get him sprint at some point. So this is sprint we've kind of banned as Long Island Wargaming from Mordheim, but at the time we had sprint, which is triple your movement instead of double for marching. So he would go 15 inches, and then he'd get this spell off, and then jump 12 inches into an enemy. And we kind of joked around about it being like a magnet. He would just run forward and then fling himself into an opponent and just get magnetized to them and just fly at them. So thus the name was born of Magna. I don't remember if I came up with it or one of my buddies came up with it, but it was Magna. And I was using an old, like, Clan Rat model, like the old ones, and he was the musician, because I didn't have a model for a caster yet, because this is when I first started playing Skaven, and he was the musician, so he just had a little club and a bell. So he became known as Magna the Bellringer, and this warband lasted for several years, and this character, he got up there in experience, and he was the kick-ass caster that all my buddies were afraid of, and he was Magna the Bellringer. And he would just ring his bell, and then he would fling himself at the opponent. He got Black Fury down to casting on like 7 or 6, which is crazy, so more often than not, he was getting the smell off, and he would just fly at his opponent. He would turn on his magnets and get magnetized to him. So it was a silly name, but it stuck. And it stuck for years, and this warband went on for a very long time. So Magna the Bellringer became very notorious amongst the Long Island Wargaming warbands. Unfortunately, one day he did bite the dust, and it wasn't even a very glorious battle. He just got overrun by a Beastman warband. Like, his spells weren't getting off, his combat effectiveness just wasn't working, and a bunch of gore and ungore just stomped on him and just beat the crap out of him. And serious injury chart came around, and that was it. I rolled up 11 or something really bad, and that was it. Dead. So Kyle's Beastman destroyed Magna the Bellringer. But as sad as that moment was for me, it sparked this like sense of character development and campaign where once we came back, I to Mordheim again because we cycle into Mordheim, Warhammer, and other games. And we came back and we did a game mastered campaign, and I think it was like Magna's retribution or something. Like all of his litter, came to avenge his death, and it was a lot of fun because we had a connection to this character and a couple of the other warband leaders that have been going around for a while, which you'll get to meet eventually in the Vermin Queen campaign. One of them was Rzansky, which is like human mercenary guy who was like a converted hero clique, and it was really cool. We really enjoyed it. So Magna the Bellringer was infamous, and he was dead. So people actually started like playing Mordheim again because I just had this warband that was, Skaven's a little bit overpowered, but this caster just made things miserable for people to the point where it didn't matter what the scenario was. I would get double, triple, quadruple teamed. So it was just Magna the Bellringer versus everyone's warband. But eventually Magna died, and we did Magna's Retribution. And this campaign, they were trying to, evade getting killed by all of Magna's, litter and offspring. And one of the things during this campaign was they found Magnolius, which was Magna the Bellringer's bell, which had some of the spells and abilities that the character did before he died had. And it was cool that, everyone got to relive the ability of what Magna did, and it created that fear and terror again where we had a character running around with Magna's bell and everyone was, shit afraid of him because he had all these abilities that the character who wasn't, it wasn't cheating or it wasn't overpowered based on, me spamming stuff. It was just he became powerful. He got a lot of experience. He was up in like the 50 experience range, which I don't know what max is in Mordheim, but you start off at like 8 or 12 with the caster, and he got a lot of experience. So he was, he had like 2 or 3 wounds and a handful of attacks, and he was just really good. So the bell was stolen. I think it passed hands a couple times because we allowed the bell to bounce back and forth if you killed the character that had it, and it ended up in the hands of the Dark Elves. And Kyle was playing the Dark Elves at the time, so Kyle just likes getting on the opposite side of Magna the Bellringer. So, in this campaign, they had to travel down into the depths of the tunnels beneath Mordheim, in which case I actually had tunnels set up, and I used like paper towel rolls and different tubes and stuff. It was actually really cool. And the last scenario, it's just waves and waves of rats, clan rats, giant rats, everything, just rats everywhere, rat ogres, just coming through the tunnels, and it was the last scenario, and you just had to escape. Everybody had to escape, and you wanted as many of your Warm Bear members to survive. And the Black Elf Sorcerer was Vierna, and that was what Kyle named him because in Mordheim, we like to have all of our characters named. That's just how you play the game. The Henchman, every character is named, though. So, Vierna the caster, and Zeknafine, I believe, was the caster, the leader of the Dark Elf Warband. Dark Elves are just evil. They were all trying to escape, everybody, all the warbands, every players, the tunnels. And 2 other honorable mentions are Slasher and Claws. They're 2 different Skaven characters that you'll probably see again at some point that are from my warband, my original Skaven warband, that are not yet dead, so they make appearances in these GM'd campaigns that we do. But Zeknafine and Vierna were the Dark Elves, and they were trying to escape. And Kyle wanted Zeknafine to get out because he had the bell. He had the ancient magical belt. So I don't think he did it on purpose, but it just happened to be that the caster, she got knocked down. And she fell behind. And in a very Sarah Kerrigan-like matter, and I'll link that below for anyone that's not a StarCraft fan, she just got overrun by rats, but she was the scapegoat, so all the other Dark Elves could get out. And at first, we thought it was funny and we were laughing, but we were like, that's pretty epic. Like, she took one for the team, not by choice, but she fell behind. And she got Kerriganed. Like, she got left behind and overrun by the vermin or the zerglings or whatever you want to call them. And she then became the Vermin Queen. And this was about a year or 2 years ago, and we've never revisited the tunnels or that part of the city, let's say. But it's time. We are going to revisit this part of the city and see what happened to Vierna, or as now she's called, the Vermin Queen. So that's what sparked this campaign. So hopefully that provides some insight on the background of the campaign. I know some of you just like to watch Mordheim. It doesn't matter what's going on, but with this storyline, you might want some background. So I hope that provided some information. So I hope you guys also enjoy these different videos and photos in the background. And if you have any questions about Mordheim or the campaign or some of the characters, list them below, and then I'll either answer them in another video or I'll just reply to your comments. So the teaser will be out. You know, soon, probably the first week of January. So stay tuned for the Mordheim Vermin Queen introduction video.